There are times when productivity is watching Netflix. Literally forces you, like those cooking shows when it's 3, 2, 1 and your arms have to go up. This does not have to cost money. Welcome back to episode 2 of the podcast. If you were here for the last episode, I was talking about mugs that sparked joy, and I was saying that if I ever get more mugs that make me happy, then maybe I'll replace some of my old ones. And hello, just 4 days after that, I went to Anthropologie and there was a huge sale and I got so many of these Natalie Letty mugs, and I got bowls, and I'm just shook. I'm so excited. This morning was just one of those mornings that nothing really went as planned. And even though today we're going to be talking about time blocking, which essentially is planning your days, planning your weeks, and planning your months, I want to be very clear that sometimes your plans just don't work out, and that is okay, and that's part of the whole journey. I like to think that planning keeps me in control of my life, but it is to a point, which is why I talk to people about the fact that I don't really set goals further than 3 months in advance, maybe 6 months in advance, because after that, it's just so hard to plan. The idea of planning my life a year from now is so overwhelming and weird to me, because I know that the universe has things in store for me that even I can't envision and plan. I think just keep this in mind as we talk about time blocking today, that there is a limit to how much we can plan, and sometimes it is okay that we don't have everything planned out. There is a limit. For a lot of people, organization is kind of a cover for being in control, when we really ultimately have very limited control. So I want you to keep that in mind. But let's talk about time blocking and this idea of sculpting your schedule for productivity. I wish there was a different word for that in the creative sense. Maybe I'll have one at some point. But I know that for me, when I think of productivity, I think of the hustle culture, this idea that you have to constantly be productive or else you're not achieving your goals. You're not working towards your artistic dreams, anything like that. And there are times when productivity is watching Netflix. There is a time when productivity is going to get a massage and not checking your phone and not being on your computer. I struggle with that a lot. I feel like every time I open my computer, there's another way for me to be productive. There's another way for me to have another idea of planning my business or writing music. And sometimes we need to understand that productivity can be a trap, and that productivity, I don't know, maybe we need to create our own definition of productivity, because I think that the undercurrent of it is that we're physically moving and doing something. And my cat really wants to come in. But especially in our creative careers, sometimes it is not. Sometimes it is us romanticizing this journey, which is what I talk about a lot, is just looking at your journey and saying, how can I make this more enjoyable for me? Because that really is the key to productivity, is how can I make this something that I love? I think that productivity, we could get stuck in this feeling of we're always on to the next thing. Like productivity, there's an end goal, and we're not actually enjoying the process of being productive or this whole journey. So in that sense, let's talk about how to time block your journey in the least controlling aspect that we can. Time blocking, there was a big part in this as I started my Cozy Girl job, which is a job that I have that's remote. I work with nice people. It's in digital marketing, something creative that I think is very close to my ability to songwrite. I'm a songwriter. I went to school for theater where I did a lot of writing, and now I'm a blog writer. So it all coincides to something that I'm naturally good at. And it is not too draining for me. And it took me a while to find this career. And a big part of that, of finding it, was learning how to time block. First of all, what is time blocking? I'm gonna bring up a definition, because I'm probably not even gonna say it right. What I think time blocking is, it's not about working harder or longer, but just being more intentional and thoughtful, assigning certain weeks, days, and hours towards specific tasks. Let me see if that's different from any other definition I find. According to Todoist, time blocking is a time management method where you divide your day into blocks of time. Each block is dedicated to a specific task or group of tasks. Same thing. I think when it comes to artists, it's all about intentionality too. And then there's this whole thing with women working with your cycle and working with certain seasons. And there's a whole depth to it that I could probably research a lot more on that I'm not even there yet. But the fundamental aspect is that we're talking about ways that we can focus on very specific tasks so we are not spending all day just trying to make things work but not really sure how. This is a great example. I had a day like this yesterday. And again, this is to say that not every day is going to be productive. Some days you're just figuring out what works and what doesn't. And yesterday was a day that I said, "Ooh, this doesn't work, whatever is happening." I tried to time block, but my mind was not there. And I tracked it back to not having really a lot of break days within the past few weeks. So I really had to limit the amount of tasks that I was doing. Sometimes I'll find that if I didn't get a lot of sleep the night before, the few nights before, that will also make it very hard for me to be able to time block and focus on those time blocks. Because I have this timer up on my computer where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna write blog articles for 25 minutes, but I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't. Like I am so bored or I'm so out of it. There is this creative discipline that goes into time blocking, but the first part of this is really understanding what's going on in your body, in your mind, in your creative career. Kind of like what we were talking about in the first episode. So if you haven't watched that, definitely check it out. I will link it. But checking in with yourself. If you feel like, first of all, if you want to start planning your day, your week, your month, and even if you have already and you're like, but something about it isn't working, check in with those three things. Check in to see, how's your body feeling? Is there something going on? Did you not get enough sleep? Have you not eaten enough vegetables? Have you not gotten enough sunlight? Did you take your supplements this morning? Check in with that. Check in with your home. Is your home cluttered? Is it dirty? Does it need to be cleaned? Do you need to get laundry done? Is it not really making you feel inspired, or the colors just making you feel not productive at all? And then your career, is there something that you're doing that you genuinely, it's so hard to do, it's so hard to mentally get there that you just feel like whatever you try to do when it comes to time blocking, it's just, you can't. Let's talk about the benefits of this first, because for a lot of people, again, systems and planning can be a coping mechanism for needing more control, and I'm fully aware of that, and that is something that I definitely turn to when I feel like I need more control. And there's only really a limit of how much you can plan before you are being a bit of a perfectionist and trying to overplan everything. But time blocking can help you visualize tasks. So it can help you see this is what I was like yesterday. I felt like I had all these things to do. I had like blogs to write for clients, blogs to write for me. I had to script out videos or plan out videos. I wanted to record this video yesterday and I just couldn't see it. And for me, energetically, I just knew that yesterday was not a day that I could work because my mind I didn't have a break for the past few weeks. So I understood that. But on a day like today where I have a little bit more energy, I'm able to just look at that. And the idea of time blocking is just, okay, so I'm listing out a bunch of things that I have to do, and then I'm going to schedule them within blocks of the day, blocks of the week, or blocks of the month. So it helps you visualize tasks. It also, and within this, it helps you emphasize focus work versus more generalized work. So again, when you completely 100% know what you are doing within a certain time block, it's a lot easier to get it done compared to, you're like, oh, I need to call the vet, I need to call the doctor, but I also need to get this done. So you're kind of on the computer going to this website, but then go to this website, and it could waste your whole day. This is where I was yesterday. It was wasting my whole day, and it took me until the end of the day to be like, I really shouldn't have even tried to work yesterday because I couldn't. But I just tend to want to plan everything and want to get things done and be efficient, so I just push myself to a point that I shouldn't have. Lesson learned? Maybe. We'll see. And then time blocking also, it gives you time to regroup, which is something that I should have done yesterday. But it gives you time to, especially when you're using like a Pomodoro timer system where you're doing 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off, it literally forces you, like those cooking shows when it's 3, 2, 1 and your arms have to go up, it forces you to stop what you're doing. Even if you're in the middle of an email, even if you're in the middle of something, it is so helpful to just stop what you're doing and say, okay, let me give myself 5 minutes. And even if you don't actively think about, okay, what do I do for the next 25 minutes, you're still getting yourself out of something and just getting into the next task. And then you can look at your calendar and just see, okay, I only have to do this for 25 more minutes, then I'm gonna go on to the next task. And it helps you give that bird's eye perspective. So all around, we love time blocking. So let's talk about different ways to actually, and I'll try to give a few examples. For me, I'm a singer-songwriter as well as a aspiring content creator. And so I have a lot of things on my plate, especially as I'm like working with clients and then also working with my own business with this and with my band, and there's just a lot of stuff going on. So for certain tasks, doing the Pomodoro system is very helpful. I explained this before. The Pomodoro system is this concept. You could download an app on your phone. I think I have this app called Timer or Pomodoro Timer. You can find them on the App Store, where it's literally just a timer that goes on for 25 minutes, and then in 5 minutes, you have a break after. But it just keeps looping, and I think after 3 times you have a slightly longer break, and then you could just regroup and see, okay, how many Pomodoros am I going to do this session? So when it comes to your creative career, if you do work in person or if you work a job where it's just I'm there and I can't really do anything other than be at that job, this is probably not for that. This is more for if you're looking to transition from that cozy girl job into your creative career and you know you have a lot of tasks to do within that. How do you batch that? So I'm thinking also of personal tasks that you have to do as well. I seem to get caught up in, I know that I need to do work tasks, cozy girl job tasks, I need to do creative career tasks, I have to do personal tasks, I have to do a bunch of different things, and I sometimes don't really know like how to organize them. So the concept of using a Pomodoro timer could help you maybe batch together a few smaller things. So I'm thinking of, I have to send an email to a product that I got shipped that was broken. That's gonna take literally 5 minutes, and I just put it off all the time because I just don't wanna do it. I also have to send another email, I have to fill out this form, I have to do all these little 5-minute-ish things that I just want to push off. Those are really nice to put into a Pomodoro. If you say, okay, I'm gonna do a Pomodoro timer for 25 minutes and I'm gonna hit all 3 of these tasks. I'm gonna do it within that. And you set the timer and you just go. That is a really good way of using the Pomodoro timer. And it's just for those things that you push off. And it's funny because it's like those things that you push off tend to be so small and they take so little time, but it's just the concept of doing that just emotionally it just gets you in this vibe that you're not in. I don't know if it's because we're creative and we just want to do other things and just the idea of like contacting and calling people is weird. But yeah, those are the things I tend to push off. So Pomodoro timers, yeah, I think it's really nice. I like it because it's long enough to give you time to do a few different little things, but it's short enough where you're not doing 2-hour spans of something, because that can be hard. These are for things that you don't necessarily have to be in a huge flow state for. So again, like those little emails, those little tasks, sometimes even if you are working freelance, client things that is setting up this email or sending out these documents to these people, just like little things. But then you could also do it for if you are doing a project that is taking several hours and you just don't even know how to break it down. A Pomodoro timer could be really helpful. So the first step for that would be, okay, let me break down this project. I have to make a piece of art. Okay, I have to buy the materials. I have to do the first draft. I'm so bad at art. I have to sketch. I have to do that. Breaking it up into small tasks and then maybe saying, okay, I'm going to do 5 of these tasks within 1 Pomodoro. That could be a way that you can break up those really long, strenuous projects that you maybe have been putting off as well, or just need to break down a little bit more. That's a technique of using a timer. I also use an app, what is it called? Blitzit. And I think Asana has something like this too, where it has a little timer on screen and you say, I'm going to estimate that this is going to take me 30 minutes, and you estimate it and then you say go, and then there's a little timer just on the little corner of your computer screen that you can just keep checking as you're doing your work and saying, okay, I got 10 more minutes, and you don't have to keep checking on your computer or your phone in a separate tab. So apps like that are super fun, but you don't have to spend money to be more productive in this way. So I'm talking about hourly time blocking. Let's talk about daily time blocking. So before I go to sleep, ideally, not every day, I'm not gonna say every day because I'm not perfect, but in a perfect world, before I go to sleep every night, I look at my calendar and I say, what do I have to do tomorrow? And what do I want to do tomorrow? And I just take a glance at that calendar view, seeing if I have any meetings, seeing if I have any appointments, and then seeing what I want to fit into that within songwriting, things that I want to prioritize, and then also client work that I have to do. So day plan is the first section. I'm calling this like day plan, predict, and execute. So the day plan is you're looking at the day overall and you're just making a general estimate. Okay, I want to get this done. Sometimes I will literally go into Google Calendar and just block out time from 10 to 2, I'm going to do this. These are big time blocks, so sometimes it's not that helpful, but other times when I really just need to visualize it a little bit bigger, I will say, okay, 10 to 2, client work, 2 to 3, lunch, 3 to 4, record video. Sometimes I just need that. Sometimes you might need that too. And then predicting is within that. You're predicting how long something's going to take. This is a big part of time blocking and planning in general. And Static and I will do this together because the neurodivergent brain sometimes has a very hard time visualizing how long something's going to take. So we'll work together and we'll be like, okay, what do you need to do tomorrow? Okay, I need to call this person. I'm selling this piece of gear. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. Okay, how long do you think it's going to take to do any of those? It's really just about estimate. Let's estimate. Is this a 5-hour project or is this a 10-minute project? We could usually estimate kind of that difference. It might be a little over, might be a little under, but we know when something's generally going to take a certain amount of time. And the nice thing about estimating is that the more you do it, I don't want to say the better you'll be at it, but the more you'll be able to visualize things. I know that I have certain emails I have to send, and even though in my brain I just don't want to do it, I know that if someone asked me how long is this going to take, I'd say it's going to take 5 minutes. It's the more you estimate how long things are going to take, I think, yes, maybe the easier it will get. So you estimate and then you execute it. And this is where I think self-care comes into it. Making processes throughout the day that make it more enjoyable, because I'm sure that there's things in your day that you're looking forward to, and I'm sure that there's things in your day that you're not looking forward to. So anything we can do to make that execution process more intentional and more friendly to you, then I think that's going to help you in the long run. Another way I like to time block, and I do this through different ways Static does it, is through body doubling. So this concept that you and at least one other person are working on something together. You're not working on a project together. You're not working on the same project, but you are equally working on your own things, but you are in each other's presence. I will do this with my friend a lot, my friend Kat, where I even texted her yesterday. I'm like, I can't get any of this stuff done. And she's okay, let's co-work tomorrow. Co-work, body doubling, the same thing. Let's co-work tomorrow. I'm not gonna have classes, so we'll just stay on and get all that stuff done that you don't wanna do. And she'll also get stuff done, whether it's working around the house. Sometimes it's cleaning. Sometimes you just need someone to literally watch you clean. As crazy as that sounds, but it's really not crazy. Just so you know that you're not alone and you have that accountability. I do this just through FaceTime very casually. Static will do this through an app called Flow.club, and that app it's basically you do that, but it's on a very nice like proprietary platform where you log in and there's a bunch of sessions and you can sign up for a session. Sometimes they'll have Pomodoro sessions, so they'll have sessions that's 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off. The important part about this, whether you're doing an app or you're just doing this with your friend, is that you have a check-in, you have a plan, and then you have the checkout. So the check-in at the beginning, however long this is, sometimes they have flow clubs that are 2 hours, 3 hours, sometimes 30 minutes. The check-in is saying, what do I want to get done within this next 30-minute, 2 hour, whatever. And then that's part of the plan. You're planning. You're checking in by physically saying what your plan is. And then the checkout is, okay, how did we do? You're reflecting on that. So maybe it's the check-in, the reflection, whatever. You guys get it. And that is very important because that's helping your brain literally connect those dots back to, I spilled tea on myself, but I'm still gonna hold it because it's just so cute. It's important to check in with yourself, to check in with other people. I think the subconscious part of this is that by checking in with other people about what you're doing, you're checking in with yourself and saying, what do I want to get done? And then how did I do? These check-in and check-outs are so important. I know it sounds cliche when people say you check in with yourself throughout the day and see how you're feeling, but it's true. It's cliche because it's true. I think I say this so much on this channel. I will say something and I'll say, I know it sounds so cliche, and then I'll go ahead sounding cliche, but cliches are there sometimes for a reason because they're so true. We're talking about hour-to-hour time blocking. We're talking about day-to-day time blocking. So as I mentioned, we're planning the day, blocking it out maybe in a calendar. There's another element of this too that some people find really helpful is theming your days. So this is particularly helpful for people who have their own businesses and have a little bit more flexibility in their days, where you might find that having Mondays be your meeting days, having Tuesdays be your creative days, having Wednesdays be your editing days can be a very helpful way for you to then overall plan your week. When we think of all of these tasks that we have to do, all of these things that we have to do, want to do, need to do, would like to do, all of those things, how we can just fit it into our weekly plan, that is a concept too that could be really helpful for people with a more flexible schedule who feel like they, you now have this business, but you need to figure out how to make it work for you. And I think it could be helpful to do this week to week. For me, I don't know how much I could make every single Monday meeting day, every single Tuesday. I think there's a reason why we are creative people, because we can't really go with a schedule for too long or else we go crazy. That's why we don't work a full-time job, or that's why we don't want to work a full-time job forever. So I completely understand that there is that element where you might want to be controlling that a little bit more and saying, or I should say, you want to be alleviating the control from that a little bit more. So maybe just thinking about it on a week-to-week perspective, planning your week whenever you're watching this, the next week, thinking about what do you have to do? How can you maybe just theme your days? So that way, when you have your list of tasks in front of you, if you have a themed day, you can just literally drop it within that day. And once you've dropped all those tasks within that day, then you can organize it within the time frame of saying, okay, I know I'm going to do X on Tuesday. When am I going to do it? Let me sign up for a co-working session and do it from 9 to 10. Or let me FaceTime my friend and do it from this time. Or let me batch it together with these other tasks and do a Pomodoro. So it can help you consolidate everything into days before you actually consolidate into the actual time blocking hours within the days. Some tools and systems that I use for time blocking and time management and all the fun things, they do not have to cost money. You do not have to spend money. Some of these do, but you don't have to spend money on anything if you don't want to. I really like Asana personally because I like there's a My Tasks section, and I put it in a week view, and so I can see every day of the week and I can see all the tasks that I need to do. And there is also a section that says basically tasks that aren't assigned a day and that are just in a little sidebar I have to pull up. And so if I just have an idea of a task I need to do, but I don't know the day yet, I can put it in there and then I can just drag it in later. And I find that to be very helpful. You can also put in subtasks within those tasks if you want to get real fancy. So if you have to, sometimes I have to send out reports, SEO reports to my clients. So I will say SEO reports due on Tuesday, and then I will create subtasks so I remember each client to send it to. So you don't even have to get that crazy with it though. You could just do those tasks, and Asana can be completely free. You can get it for free. It won't have all the features, but you just literally might not even need features. For the My Tasks section, just making tasks for yourself, I think the paying part is custom fields and automations, and I use those things for my work, but you probably don't need that if you're a beginner. Blitzit is another one that I mentioned that you might need, you might not need. I got it because it was a sale, and you might just use your phone for something like that. It's just you predict how much time something's going to take, and then you can have it on your screen. but you could equally do the same thing on your phone and just say, I'm gonna do this for the next 2 hours, and just set that on your phone. I like Blitzit because it has little pings every 10 minutes. So if I'm getting off track, I can be reminded. I'm like, oh, okay, 10 minutes. Woo, like, am I doing okay? So it's little check-ins within a check-in, and I like that. I personally like that. But you don't have to do that. And I believe Asana does have a time tracker. I used it once. It was a little hard to use, so hopefully they get better at that. But yeah, that's an option. Toggle is also one, especially if you are coming into the freelance world a little bit. Toggle is very fun because, would I call it fun? I'm like just throwing around the word fun. I don't know. I don't know if I consider it fun, but it's a cute tool. You can pin it to your Google Chrome and you can see how much time you have left of something. You can predict time. And then what's cool is that you can create little projects. So let's say you want to see how much time you're taking working on your Etsy shop and you versus your actual freelancing business. You can time track and log that time within a, I guess, group or category. Then you can see analytics on how much time you spent on each task within the week within those two categories. So it could be really fun if you're exploring the idea of time tracking and time blocking and you want to see like how much time am I really spending on XYZ. I used it a lot when I started freelancing because I really liked the concept of seeing how long certain things took me, especially as I was starting to experiment. Do I want to write blogs? Do I want to do social media management? Do I want to do this? I tracked how long do certain client projects take, and I started realizing, you know what, I'm pretty natural at writing blog articles. Maybe I'll lean more into that. So it was actually really helpful for me at the beginning of my freelancing journey to see how long things took, and then I could track. And even sometimes with clients, if you are working hourly, I don't like working hourly, but if you do start doing that, I did it at the beginning and I suggest doing that at the beginning, but not long term, then that's a really easy way to track your time as well. I also mentioned body doubling apps. I know flow.club, Focused Space is another one. There's so many. If you type in body doubling apps on Google, you will find so many. And they're monthly subscriptions, but I think they could be really worth it if you feel like you just, especially if you work remotely. It could be so hard if you work remotely to be able to just have that accountability to be like, I know I need to do this, but I don't want to do it, and I need somebody else to hold me accountable. It's so helpful. You get in a room, you guys check in, there's a host, and it's just nice to have the camera on. And what I really like about it is that at the beginning of the session, Static will put in all of the different things that he wants to do. And there's this is specifically with flow.club. There's a specific place on the app where you can put in all of your tasks and you can see it on screen. So most people like to keep their cameras on because then you can see what people are doing and it's just nice accountability, and you can just glance over and you're like, oh yeah, I'm on camera, like I have to do what I'm doing. What I like about it is that if for some reason your camera's off, if you're like moving around or something, your tasks go on your screen. But then wherever, if your camera's on or off, whenever you check off your tasks, there's like a celebration graphic that goes up on your screen and that everyone can see, and I think that's just the cutest thing ever, and I love that so much. So I think that's very cute of flow.club to do. So if you like things like that, I would definitely check it out. Again, this does not have to cost money. You could just do this on FaceTime with your friend, with your sister, with your accountability buddy, with whoever you feel like also has things to do and likes to be held accountable. You can do that. So when it comes to planning your creative journey, your creative path, I want you to remember again, productivity for many people can be a distraction, and it could be not constructive. It can be this, you're feigning that oh my gosh, you're getting so much done. I love, love, love the 4-hour work week. And I specifically love when he talked about the idea that why is everybody in an office for 8 hours a day, shuffling papers? Are we actually doing 8 hours of work? No, we're not. We're going in, we're getting coffee, we're doing a few hours of work, we're talking to people, we're moving from this room to this room. This concept of let me focus on exactly only what I need to do can help you be more productive. Imagine if you could freelance and make more money doing that, but spending less time than in a full-time job, or the same amount of money. It really doesn't matter. The idea that you can freelance and basically break even and still make the money that you need to make, but you're not stuck in an office and you're not stuck spending your time doing things that are so unimportant. You should either be spending that time making money, or you should be spending time on your creative career. I think that's where we're gonna end, because I think Dana's decided that this is the end, right? Okay, she's decided that this is the end, and I want you to feel so inspired to just get started. If you are interested in possibly hitting the subscribe button and seeing it change colors and be super cute and fun, that would be so fun, and I would love to see you around, and then you would know when new videos came out, because there'd be that like little blue button. But you know, you do you, you do you. And I will see you around for our next video, our next podcast. So as usual, stay inspired and stay creative. Bye.